Okay, so this is another Module 9, the skills test. It's going to teach you about the speed of sound. So let's go ahead and dive right on in. Now, the first thing that you're warned about when you click on this is to make sure that your headphone settings are not too loud, because there's a little explosion sound. You know, crank them down initially and get it to a comfortable setting. Don't blast your ears out. It's not a very, it's not a huge explosion, but just to play it safe. Now, the first screen you see is what's called a placement screen. And this allows you to, essentially, X is where you're standing, and the little dot is where the explosion is going to be. And so you can move it around. You can move just by clicking move, it's going to move to varying distances from you as the observer. And notice that the distances are marked off in kilometer increments. And then, of course, there's 10 subdivisions. So these are all at tenths of kilometers. Now, notice when you are going to create a data table, your distance is in meters. So keep that in mind. So if I put, right now, my dot seems to be about 2.1 kilometers away. Well, in order to convert that to meters, I need to either multiply by 1,000, or if I think about 2.1, I can move that decimal place 3 places to the right, and I get the same thing. It winds up being 2,100 meters. So 2.1 kilometers is equivalent to 2,100 meters. It's the reading in meters that I want to have in my distance column for my data table. But anyway, you're going to create a data table, and then in question 1, it essentially gives you instructions. So once you're ready, you hit the start button. Once you've got your explosive where you want it, you hit start, and then all you have to do is just hit the plunger of this of your explosive device, and it's going to create the explosion, and then you're going to just watch the stopwatch. Once you hear the explosion, hit stop and take that reading. Again, that's in milliseconds. You'll want to convert that to seconds. Again, you're going to be doing this on your own. You're going to do this like 8 times. Well, actually, you're going to do it 3 times for this placement, and you're going to take an average time. Then once you've done that, you're going to change your placement. So go back here, move your explosive to another distance. Once you've gotten that distance, go back and do 3 trials. So every time you do it, there is a reset button. You can actually then take your second trial. So you're going to create this this data table, and once you have your data, you're going to plot it. So you want to be using your quick graphing program, where your distance is going to be on the y-axis. You create a distance versus time. Distance on the y-axis, time on the x-axis, and again, make sure your distance is in meters, make sure your time is in seconds. And so you're going to put in your data, you're going to graph it, you're going to fit it, and then you're going to take a screen capture and upload it to your instructor. That's all part of question 1. Question 2 just asks a pretty simple question. Right before you get to question 3, what it wants you to do is do the same thing that you did in part A, the difference being that you're going to change your environment. So instead of being in a hot desert, you might choose frozen tundra or something of the sort. There's 3 options: hot desert, cool desert, frozen tundra. Choose any of them, just choose a different environment and do the same thing. So in question 3, you're going to again create another graph, distance versus time. Make sure that your distance again is on the y-axis in meters. Make sure your time is on the x-axis in seconds. Create your graph, upload it, graph your data, fit your data, upload it, screen capture it, upload it to your instructor. And then questions 4 and 5 are essentially using what you've learned. Question 5, it asks you to use the slope from your first graph. Remember what the slope of a distance versus time graph should tell you, and then figure out how you would find out the distance that sound could travel in 1 minute. Okay, remember there's a relationship between distance, speed, and time. You should know 2 of those, and you're being asked about the 3rd. So see if you can figure that out. And good luck.